Hello and welcome to the Crimson Misery Podcast, episode 26. My name is Will Rainbolt. I hope you all are doing well. It is Sunday, February 2nd, 2025. Tomorrow is my grandmother's 92nd birthday, so please wish her a happy birthday. Big St. Louis Cardinals fan, uh, big sports fan in general. Yeah, please wish her a happy birthday. Yeah, I, pretty much. Um, if you are listening on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, consider rating the show 5 stars. If you are listening on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe down below. We have so much to get into. I was hoping to record last night, but just wasn't feeling all that well. So it has to be today. Uh, Oddly enough. So there's so much to talk about, including the news of NBA trades. Oh my God, Luka Dončić has been traded from the Dallas Mavericks to um to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis. They also got um who Max Christie in that trade and a 2029 first round pick. The Lakers ended up receiving Doncic alongside Markieff Morris and Maxi Kleber. I still can't pronounce his name properly. So anyway, that news was insane. Um, yeah, this for trading someone who's like 25 years old, who's just about to turn 26th on February 28th, is pretty wild. Um, I'm still stunned by this. Um, as many people are, many people thought it was fake whenever they first heard about it from Shams. Uh who had first reported it, and people were like, "Nah, this isn't real. This isn't real. He got hacked. His password is like uh uh Wojbomb123 or something." No, it is real, and my goodness, this has shaken up the entire league. Um, and you have to wonder, obviously, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, Miriam Adelson, who's a big donor. I mean, of course, she was born in Palestine, but Israel had took that land over, um, and she's a gigantic Zionist and also a big Trump supporter, big Trump donor, and also so people are joking around like, yeah, she had to trade Luka Doncic in order to get more money for JD Vance's 2028 presidential run. Um, yeah, this was crazy. Um, yeah, I literally don't have too much else to say because everyone has said so much to begin with. But the fact that Luka Doncic, again, only 25 years old, made the NBA Finals with the Mavericks last year, losing to the Boston Celtics, this was, again, unbelievable. This is an unbelievable trade. I don't know how it's going to work out. I mean, the Lakers, I think, are the clear winners of this trade on paper, but we shall see in the long run. So I think a majority of people are saying the Lakers won this trade. So anyway, let's get to college basketball, shall we? Yeah, I don't. There's so much to talk about that I hate to like look gloss over so many different storylines, but I guess let's just start off with women's basketball. Um, So I mean, USC beat Minnesota on Thursday, but then lost at Iowa today. Lucy Olson, this was her best game in an Iowa uniform by far. A big upset. Oh, even though it's at Iowa, but at the same time, uh, just very shocking to see this happen. And despite Juju Watkins having 27 points, they only scored I believe it was 4 points in the first quarter. Yeah, 4 points. They got it going in the second quarter, took a 1 point lead at halftime, but then Iowa really came out strong in the second half. Addison O'Grady had some big shots down the stretch. So yeah, big upset there. USC is still my pick to win it all, but this is a great win for Iowa. No doubt. 76-69, the final score there. Illinois goes on the road and upsets Maryland. Illinois is a sneaky good team. Genesis Bryant uh, hit the game-winning free throws in that one to seal the win for Illinois on the road against Maryland, who has now lost 4 of 5, really struggling without Bree McDaniel. And yeah, it's not looking good for Maryland right now. Just in a bit of a free fall right now. Illinois now 7-4 in the Big Ten, along with Maryland. So this is a big win for the Fighting Illini. And then Louisville loses at home to Notre Dame. Notre Dame now moves to 10-0 in the ACC. UConn's now 12-0 in the Big East after defeating Butler. Uh, Georgia Tech beat Miami on the road. That's not a big surprise, despite the infamous Cavender twins. Miami is not a good basketball team. So Georgia Tech wins 77-66 on the road, and then we still have some games in action today, including LS or UCLA. They are leading by 13 against Minnesota, who actually played the Bruins pretty well, but UCLA is has really been playing a lot better in the second half. And then North Carolina is beating Stanford currently by 9. Michigan State is beating Northwestern 71-57. Tennessee is beating Missouri 55-50 at this current moment. And then Kentucky on the road against Oklahoma is leading at halftime 40-29. Georgia Amore has 16 points to lead the way for Kentucky. So yeah, I really hate to like gloss over so much. I mean, Florida State on Thursday beat Boston College 104-80. Uh, First game that Florida State's been ranked all year, so this was a really good showcase for them. Um, Vanderbilt and NC State picked up big wins. And then Oregon upsets Michigan State on the road 63-59 earlier on this week. North Carolina beat California on the road 65-52. Their defense stepped up this time after losing to Florida State. LSU defeated Oklahoma on Thursday 107-100. This was a high scoring game. Michaela Williams 37 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals to lead the way for LSU. And despite Peyton Verhulst having 26 points and 7 rebounds, it was not enough for them. So, with that being said, uh, yeah, we have, again, I hate to gloss over that because there was a lot happening on the women's side, but there was so much that happened on the men's side, that it's just like I don't even know if I'll be able to talk about everything that happened. It was just insane. So on Thursday, I'm just gonna gloss over this a little bit. Memphis, they won twice this week. Or well, I say they won twice. Well, not yet, because they're still playing Rice. They're leading by 4. Um 60 to oh nope, now they're leading by 1. So no, it's not a done deal. They've won once already and they're currently winning against Rice. So uh yeah, for Memphis, they need to keep winning in order to stay on top of the American. And then Nebraska upsets Illinois 80-74. Bryce Williams had he didn't just do this against Indiana, which I'm happy about. He had 27 points. Yakuchonis had 18 and 13, but it was not enough. And then in the most unsurprising result, UCLA defeated Oregon 78-52. This I could see this coming a mile away. Oregon is also kind of like with Maryland in the on the women's side, this team's kind of in free fall. They play tonight against Nebraska, so we'll see how that goes. But I'll be curious to see that. But yeah, not not looking great for them. So um, Yeah, on Friday, look, Indiana played better. They played better tonight. They played much better than I thought they were going to be, but they lost to Purdue 81 to 76 on the road, despite leading by 4 at halftime. Um, Purdue just came out and hit more shots. Simple as that. Braden Smith had a fantastic game, 24 points, 7 assists, 6 steals, leading the charge. He made every shot that he could. Trey Kaufman-Rin had the game winner for Purdue. And I mean, despite like Mackenzie Mbako having a bit of a back game, having 25 points, Trey Galloway had a really good game. I mean, he seems to only play well against Purdue. So, um, do with that information what you will. Luke Goody has look. Despite this team not being very good, Luke Goody has actually been a really, really good pickup. He's been playing so well in conference play that it makes me kind of sad that this is like one of his best. This probably is his best season overall. Um, yeah, it has career highs in scoring and close to a career high in 3-point field goal percentage, and it kind of is because he's played in 12 more games that he did in 22, 23. So yeah, this was a despite Indiana not playing well, Luke Goody's been playing really well. So I got to give my shout out to Luke Goody, who's not only been a good player on the court, but he's also been one of the most mature guys in that huddle. Um, I mean, same thing with Anthony Leal. Same thing. I mean, I hate like because I obviously hesitate to say like Umar Ballo because he's been ejected this year, but at the very least, like he has shown some like maturity as of late. At least in huddles and whatnot. Like it's clear he wants to win. He wants to make the tournament again. But Indiana and again, Mike Woodson again with a play that was drawn up. Um, it's funny because on Sunday against Maryland, Mike Woodson called a timeout when he probably shouldn't have, uh, when he should have let Miles Rice just, who was having a really good game at that point, just take the last shot, kind of playground style. But in this case, Miles Rice did not have a great game, and even though I don't think it was a shot necessarily. I think Umar Ballo was supposed to be near the basket because it looked more like a lob looking back at it, but the play was just completely botched once again, and a terrible late game execution. So, and then of course, I mean Trey Galloway overshooting Malik Renew at the final possession to basically seal it for Purdue. Just another bad loss. Not a bad loss in terms of like quad one. I mean, it's a quality loss, as some people might put it. But yeah, just not fun, just not fun times. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about that game. Just this season has just been a train wreck. So we'll see if they can we'll see if they can pick it back up by losing their a billionth game in a row to Wisconsin in the Kohl Center. I don't know when the last time they beat Wisconsin was in the Kohl Center. It had to have been like it's been a long freaking time. Um, I think it was like since the late 90s when Indiana last won in Wisconsin. Something to that extent. Um, this can be done, however, by a simple Google research. Um, Google search. Um, when you put in when was the last time Indiana men's basketball won at Wisconsin. Perfect. This is what you should have done ahead of time, Will. Um, yeah, 1998. It's been 27 years since Indiana last won at the Kohl Center. They have a chance to do it on Tuesday, but good God, this is yeah. Do I think it will happen? Probably not. At least I think they play on Tuesday. Is the next time they end up playing. Um, yeah, Tuesday. It's gonna be like 66 to 56 or something. It's not gonna be a pretty score. I'll say that much. Um, anyway, so let's move on to Saturday's action, which is gonna take up a lot of time here on this episode. So, man, Auburn looks unbeatable right now. Despite Ole Miss taking the lead at some points in the second half, Auburn just looks again, they look unbeatable. Janai Broom had 20 points, 12 rebounds, and he wasn't even the main guy. Like, I mean, granted, he did lead them in scoring, but like Chad Baker Mazara kept making big shots. Denver Jones made four threes. Miles Kelly made three. Even without like a spectacular game from Tahad Pettiford, like they still were just they looked invincible. They went 14 of 28 from beyond the arc. Sean Padula had 29 points to lead Ole Miss, but man, when you're lacking a lot of other scoring, I mean, Jamin Brakefield and Matthew Morrell had some good games yesterday, but Auburn just they take so much away from you defensively and offensively. They just overwhelm you at any point they get. I mean, they're number one in KenPom for offensive efficiency, rightfully so. They look insane. They look incredible. Um, Another win against a ranked opponent in Ole Miss. Um, and another team that looks pretty unbeatable right now is Duke. They had an incredible first half, and then played well in the second half, but North Carolina at least made it. They made the final score look somewhat respectable, but Duke at some points were leading by close to like 30 points. So it really was just a blowout from start to finish. Cooper Flag and Con Kneppel had 21 and 22 respectively. Tyrese Proctor had 17. Mason Gillis came off the bench and hit a three. Um, uh, yeah, this team is pretty insane as well. And then again, in the ACC, they're 11-0 now. The only game I can really see them losing on paper is at Clemson and maybe in Chapel Hill, but after this game, I really don't think so. Uh, I mean, Hubert Davis is cooked. Like this is just a terrible showcase. North Carolina is now 13 and 10, 6 and 5 in the ACC. They're they looked pretty defeated on the road. Um, I mean, they lost twice, so now like they really have to start winning some games in order to get in. And but then they have Pittsburgh next, who they've already lost to, but it's at home this time. But then they have to go to Clemson, who is pretty much right now, along with Louisville, but I'll get to them in a second. Louisville, they uh, probably competing for the second best team in the ACC. So North Carolina needs to get those wins like right now. So and then this game was a big surprise. Kansas State not only beats Iowa State on the road, they blew them out 80 to 61 at number 3 Iowa State. And finally the tandem of Coleman Hawkins, Doug McDaniel, Brendan Hawson, they finally are starting to get going. It may be a little late because they're now 10 and 11, but I mean, they beat West Virginia earlier. Now they have a road win against number 3 Iowa State. The Cyclones have now lost twice this week after losing to Arizona. You'd think they'd bounce back, but they just laid an egg, especially in the second half, because it was close in the first half. But man, this was a I, I I literally I can't explain this. Like it's seriously just um it's unexplainable. Like look, Doug McDaniel had 20 points, Coleman Hawkins had 17, Taman Lipsey had 20, so he's continuing his really good play. But Iowa State, especially defensively, may have a bit of problems. They uh, need Momcilovic back at some points, I think, because right now um, he's he's definitely looks like he's going to get on the court at some point soon, but they need him out there right now because they're missing a big forward piece. They have some great guard play, but they need some size. So that is a really big result that can really shake up the Big 12 standings. It was kind of a bad day for the Big 12's best teams, which I'll get into in a second. Um, I don't have a ton to say about Alabama beating Georgia. That was a bit surprising. Georgia's definitely fallen back down to earth. Florida gets a taste of their own medicine after defeating Tennessee at home by 30 points. They then lose to an undermanned Tennessee team 64 to 44. Tennessee was playing without Sakai Ziegler, and that did not seem to matter. Um, Jordan Gainey and Chaz Lanier finally got going. Um, and yeah, Florida had a really, really terrible game all the way around. It was basically just switch the two teams around from the last matchup, and you pretty much have the same result. Walter Clayton was the only one for Florida in double figures, and he went 2 for 9 from three and 3 of 13 overall. 4 of 27 was Florida from 3 point range. So, despite Tennessee losing earlier this week at home to Kentucky, they get a big win at home against the fifth-ranked Florida Gators. So Tennessee, I think, is going to stay around that like 7 to 9 range in the rankings. Florida, I think, might drop to like 6 or 7. I don't think they'll drop very far, but still a big win for them. Texas Tech goes on the road and beats Houston 82 to 81. Texas Tech, I've said this before on this podcast, are a sneaky good team. And my goodness, this game had everything. This game had everything. Starting off with JT Toppin getting a flagrant two foul for the groin shot, even though it did not look intentional. He still got tossed out of this game with like it was only like 4 minutes in. And then Grant McCasland, Texas Tech's head coach, got two technical fouls after that and got ejected himself. So Houston got, I believe, 6 free throws out of that one. It was it was pretty. This was absolutely crazy. Um, yeah. So this one was. Yeah, I literally don't know how you recover from that if you're Texas Tech on the road against a top 10 opponent, especially an opponent who is undefeated in the conference and just beat Kansas on the road. Yet, Texas Tech was leading at halftime by 4 and withstood a barrage from Houston, especially from LJ Cryer, especially from Juwan Roberts late in the game. Um, but then I believe it was in the second half. Uh, Darian Williams hit the game tying 3 pointer to send it into overtime with 30 seconds left. Jawan Roberts could not convert at the end of the game. So then the game goes into overtime, uh, tied at 72. And then the teams were kept trading blows. Jawan Roberts, they kept sending, Texas Tech kept sending Jawan Roberts to the free throw line, um, but then Chance McMillan was the hero, made two free throws with 14 seconds left, and then Juwan Roberts ended up turning it over at the end of the game. Could not get a shot off, and then Texas Tech just threw it to the end of the court. Kind of a risky play, but um, Texas Tech, great win for them. They're now 8-2 in the Big 12. This Texas Tech team is really good. Chance McMillan, obviously, was the hero, but they also had Elijah. I mean, had JT Toppin played in this game, who's arguably their best player, like the fact that Texas Tech did this like without him is incredible. So, yeah, McMillan, Hawkins, JT Toppin, you have the bulldozer, Federico, who doesn't score a lot, but just is there for like defense and for rebounding, of course. Um, Darian Williams, of course, hit the game tying three. I mean, this Texas Tech team's quietly having a very, very solid year. They're ninth at Ken Palm, man. They're the team they're building is really, really good. So yeah, unbelievable win for them. Might be the team of the week, at least for me. Um, because you don't go into Houston and get a road win very often. So, yeah, good job for them. Good job. Undermanned again. It's just incredible to witness this happen. Um, and then for Houston, like they're still a really good team, but they're learning opportunities for this. Uh, so anyway, Michigan State loses their first Big Ten game at USC 70-64. Uh, Desmond Claude had 19 points and 6 rebounds to lead the way for USC at home. A bit of a just a not a trap game really, but just kind of fall back to earth game for Michigan State. They're still really good, but USC just played really well this game. So I don't really have too much else to really say about that, but um, yeah, good win again for USC. So, and then UConn wins on the road against Marquette 77-69. Um, I kept saying throughout this game, like, especially as UConn was leading and Marquette was trying to come back and like chipping into the lead and UConn on the verge of blowing it, like, why aren't they giving it to Solo Ball, who is having a terrific game? And then they finally did, and he kept connecting from three. 7 of 9 from 3-point range was Solo Ball, who is one of my favorite players to watch this year as a sophomore. Um, because man, this guy's incredible. Picking up a lot of the scoring slack, especially as Alex Caravan's been struggling lately. He had a better game today, um, but again, when he's not scoring solo balls, had to do a lot. Samson Johnson had a good game. Jalen Stewart hit three threes in this one early. They all came pretty early in this game, so and then for Marquette, they were missing so many free throws in the first half, and they kept missing layups, and they kept missing open threes. That doomed them. Cam Jones tried to come back, had 22 points. Chase Ross had 19. David Joplin had 13, but Marquette was just doomed from a very poor first half. And UConn gets a big road win. This may have saved UConn's season almost. Like had they lost this game, they would have been 15-7 overall and 7-4 in the Big East. So not only are they like do they get back on track, but they're still in pretty good contention for the Big East title. They're still trailing Marquette by a game. I think they're trailing St. John's by 2 games. So St. John's is leading the Big East, which that Rick Pitino magic, man. That Rick Pitino Big East magic, which may or may not include strippers this time around. So, anyway, I had to bring that up. I'll get to uh, former Pitino team here in a second in Kentucky. Actually, I'll talk about that game right now. So, Coach Calipari, John Calipari, returns to Kentucky and beats his former team 89-79. Again, when Kentucky is without Lamont Butler, it really impacts them a lot. They had the big road win against Tennessee, but in this game, it was really, really hard to watch. Um, Especially because Arkansas finally had their mojo going, especially from 3-point range in this one. They went 13 of 25 overall. Kentucky just 10 of 23. Zvonimir Ivisic, the Kentucky transfer, of course. The Arkansas has three Kentucky transfers in their starting lineup. He had four threes. Aduthero had 21. DJ Wagner had 17. All five Arkansas players were in double figures. They now move to 13-8 and 2-6 in the SEC. Um, this is a big win for an Arkansas team that is really, really struggling. Um, so we'll see if this gets them going. They still don't have Boogie Fland for the rest of the year, so that's going to be a hard injury to overcome. And Arkansas obviously still has their problems, but for Kentucky, despite good games from Amari Williams and Jackson Robinson, they need they need Lamont Butler back. Like, I'm sorry, Kobe Bria is good off the bench most nights, but he's not a starter. Um, and when you're not getting good production off your bench, especially from Andrew Carr or Brandon Garrison, you're kind of asking for trouble. And they got burned this time. So this Kentucky team right now is very hot and cold. So we'll see if they can end up recovering from this one. But this was a case of like just hoping a meteor hits the stadium. So anyway, Texas A&M beats South Carolina 76-72. Not much to say about that one. St. John's defeats Providence 68-66. Kadari Richmond hit the game winner at home against a very desperate Providence team. Um, the winning three-point jumper, Jabari Abdur-Rahim had 27 for Providence, but Kadari Richmond had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. So St. John's is now 10-1 in the Big East. This is a St. John's team that may or may not could have made the tournament last year, but they are playing so much better as of this year. So great win for them. Wisconsin defeated Northwestern on the road, 75-69. John Tonje had 27. And then Brooks Barnheiser for Northwestern is out for the rest of the year with a foot injury. Dude plays really hard, but like whenever you have an exclamation point and fall on your face and then seemingly get hurt every other game, that's probably bound to happen for a season-ending injury. So I'm not really surprised there, but it still sucks for a guy that works really hard. So sorry to hear that for Brooks Barnheiser. Um, Georgia Tech upsets Louisville 77-70. This is a win Louisville probably needed in order to stay in contention for the ACC title, but at this point, I'm not sure if they'll be able to do that now that they're a game back of Clemson and 2 games back still of Duke. Um, Oklahoma crushed Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, who's now ranked, got destroyed by 30 points despite leading at halftime. They led by as many as 13, I think, and got crushed 97-67. Jeremiah Fears had 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals to lead the way there. Um, and then, yeah, Missouri crushed Mississippi State. 20th ranked Missouri crushes 14th ranked Mississippi State 88-61. This Missouri team also is right up there in those SEC standings. They're now 6-2 in the conference. Mississippi State's now 4-5. Um, this was Yeah, this was incredible to watch. Caleb Grill had 20 points off the bench, possible SEC sixth man of the year contender. As of right now, went 6 of 11 from three. They were just getting so many shots at the rim too, so many like just driving layups that Mississippi State just couldn't recover from. So this is a bad week for Mississippi State, who lost to Alabama and now lost to Missouri at home. Um, Josh Hubbard at 24, Keshawn Murphy at 16, but Missouri ends up winning this one. And then another game that just makes me laugh so much. Kansas, who had as much as a 21-point lead at Baylor, a 19-point lead at halftime. VJ Edgecombe gets hurt for Baylor, out for the rest of the game. Baylor wins by 11, 81-70. Kansas gave up 60 points in the second half. I'm not making that up. 60 points. And on the telecast, like I really like the announcer team of John Shambi and Fran Fraschilla has always been very grating to me, but Fran Fraschilla was just getting proved wrong this entire game. He was saying like, a lot of Kansas fans are really booing Hunter Dickinson a lot. I really he plays so well. He's such a great interior defender. Like, what are you talking about? And then he was saying like Dajuan Harris is really good. Like, um, helps that he's so good when he has like other like NBA players on his team. Like he was just all over the place trying to broadcast this game. Um, because man, Dajuan Harris had some really, really tough moments in the second half, and then Hunter Dickinson was doing a really, as he normally does, a really poor job protecting the rim. So let's just recap this. So after Kansas blows two leads against Houston at home, and then has to fight to the death with the help of the referees at home against a very mediocre UCF team, to now blowing a 21-point lead, a 19-point lead at halftime against Baylor, who lost VJ Edgecombe in this game. Big part of that, Norchad O'Meara had a really big bounce back game, especially at the free throw line, 13 of 14 from there. And then Robert Wright was the hero in this one. He stepped up big time. Um, Jalen Celestine also hit some big shots in the second half, but man, this Kansas team is just so like it's such a carbon copy of last year. It's almost ridiculous how much it is. Um, it's the biggest blown lead in Kansas Jacks history. It's the largest comeback for Baylor since 2016 when they beat Louisville. I believe that was in the I think it was in the battle for Atlantis. Yeah. So really, really big game for Baylor, trying to boost their NCAA tournament resume. Kansas has an opportunity to beat Iowa State on Monday. We'll see, because right now Kansas is not playing well at all. The Big 12 definitely took a big shot in this one from some of the weaker opponents. Arizona beat Arizona State though, so right now Arizona's right there in contention for the Big 12 regular season title. So that is a big win for them. Let's see. Wake Forest won at home 76-74 against Pittsburgh. They're now 8-3, trying to keep up their NCAA tournament resume. Creighton beat Villanova after Stephen Ashworth hit the game winner, winning 62-60 in that one. Doug Gottlieb. Doug Gottlieb. Let's go. Let's go. Losers of uh, 19 straight losses for for Doug Gottlieb's Green Bay Phoenix. He earlier declared he demanded rather a mea culpa from every fucking one of you when his team starts winning and then proceeds to lose 67-57 against a Detroit Mercy team that is 8-16 and 4-9 in the Horizon League. So he makes every team look like Phi Slamma Jamma. Man, this is so like insane. It's like I really, again, as I've said before, I'll be sad whenever Doug Gottlieb gets fired because I it like games like this, man. I'll miss him. I'll miss this a lot. I'll miss having to make fun of him every single podcast when I do this. So like, yeah, I just like yeah. I wish I wish he could stay forever, personally, um, because then it would just make life a whole lot easier. if Doug Gottlieb were to stay and just keep losing and keep losing and keep losing, you know? So I hope they give him another chance. Oh man. So anyway, um let's check up on some mid-major. Actually, I mean Clemson defeated NC State 60-58, so they're, like I said, they're a game back of Duke, game ahead of Louisville for the second seed in the ACC tournament. Um, Florida Gulf Coast is now 8-2 in the Atlantic Sun after defeating Stetson 82-56. Um, so that's another big win for them. Uh, Dunk City might be back in the tournament. You never know. So, and then UAB 7-2 in the American after defeating Charlotte 96-78. And I do have an update on the Memphis versus Rice game. Memphis is leading 82-78 currently with 21 seconds to go. So it looks like, barring a collapse, Memphis does have this game, but I will check back in once it's gone final. Boston College stunned Florida State. Florida State was leading by 4 with like 10 seconds left, and Boston College comes down, hits a three. No, sorry. They hit a just a regular like layup to make it a 2-point game. Florida State isn't able to inbound properly. Boston College takes it away and hits the three to win the game. So despite Florida State needing a win to kind of keep any chance of an NCAA tournament bid alive, this loss to a very bad Boston College team pretty much eliminates that. So anyway, um, Drake defeated Southern Illinois 75-65. So Drake, along with Auburn and along with UC Irvine, are the first teams to reach the 20-win mark in men's college basketball. Bennett Starts, sorry, had 30 points for Drake, potential Missouri Valley Player of the Year candidate. And then Bryant is now 8-0 in the America East after defeating NJIT 92-70. Rafael Penzon had 29 points in that one. And then Toledo now 7-2 in the MAC after defeating Northern Illinois 89-85. So they are keeping pace in the MAC standings, because it's currently, if I can bring that up, the Mid American Conference. Akron is currently still ahead at 9-0. Miami of Ohio at 8-1 in that conference. So that's the update for that conference. And then Michigan defeated Rutgers 66-63 on the road. Danny Wolf had a double double. So despite Rutgers getting a win earlier this week against Northwestern, with Ace Bailey having 37 points, Rutgers is now at 11-11 and 4-7 in the Big Ten. Um, God, it's well, I've said enough about Rutgers already. It's just not worth it at this point. So, and then yeah, Miami of Ohio beat Ohio 73-69. Um, Not too much else to say there. George Mason remains a game ahead of VCU in the Atlantic 10. They defeated Davidson on the road 64-60. And then VCU defeated Richmond 90-49, crushing them by 41 points. I can math, actually. So yeah, George Mason still in first place in the Atlantic 10 conference. So we'll see uh, what ends up happening down the stretch for the Atlantic 10. And then Northern Colorado still ahead of the Big Sky. They beat Northern Arizona 87-69. Uh, Another big win for them. Could be looking at a higher seed come tournament time. And then yeah, UC Irvine defeated UC Davis 73-66. McNeese is now 10-1. They lost their first Southland Conference game on the road against Nichols, 71-63. They still lead in the Southland Conference, uh, but definitely a bit of um, a shocker there. Uh, where is yeah, they're 10-1. They're still 2 games ahead of Lamar. So just making sure I had the right standings to relay to you all. Anyway, And then Arkansas State remains in first in the Sun Belt after defeating um, Texas State 85-74. Big win for them. Uh, Remaining a game ahead of Troy for the Sun Belt Conference title. And then we have Southern defeating Alcorn State 74-69. Southern remains 8-0 in the SWAC, remaining ahead in the SWAC standings. Big win for them, of course. Every game's a big win for them at this point. Um, San Diego State remains decently in contention for the Mountain West, 63-61 after the comeback win against San Jose State. They defeated Wyoming 63-61, so that's a big win for them, trying to keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive. New Mexico blows out Utah State on the road. Richard Pitino's team beats Utah State 82-63 on the road. This game was seemingly Utah State's to lose, and they did. New Mexico blew them out 52-27 in the second half. Just an incredible, incredible game all the way around for them. Um, Despite um, what's his name? You did, despite some good games for me and Martinez and Dayton Albury, Mason Falsleb didn't have a really good game. Drake Allen off the bench with 14. But then for New Mexico, four starters in double figures, including Donovan Dent, who had 14, Nelly Jr. Joseph with 15, True Washington at 13. Just a great game overall for New Mexico. Great race to watch finish in the Mountain West. 10-1 now is New Mexico, 9-2 is Utah State, and 8-3 is San Diego State. So keep an eye out on that one. And then, do we have a final in this one? We are very close to. It is 84-81. Memphis. PJ Haggerty hit two free throws, so now they lead by three. Rice with the ball um, could potentially tie the game here. So, and then St. Mary's last night defeated Gonzaga 62-58. St. Mary's also reached the 20-win plateau. So it's St. Mary's, Auburn, Drake, and UC Irvine have reached the 20-win mark. Um, Great win for them, obviously. Um, so look, Mark Few got in that Mike Woodson playbook and drew up a very contested three from the corner uh, from Graham Ike. Could have had a better shot to tie the game, or actually to win the game, rather, because they were down two, but he ended up airballing it. And so St. Mary's got the rebound, hit two free throws, and St. Mary's is now 10-0. And I'm very happy to potentially see a change on top of the West Coast Conference standings. Gonzaga's been uh, good enough for too long. It's time for a changing of the guard. And Gonzaga right now, like they should be able to beat a lot of other teams. They could beat St. Mary's at home as well, but if they keep playing the way they've been playing, there's a good chance that they might miss out on the tournament. And that would be pretty incredible for a Mark Few team to finally miss after um, making the tournament every year, aside from uh, the year that was canceled by COVID in 2020. Um, so, yeah, basically um, that's all I really have to say about this game. Uh, Gonzaga just continues to not be a very good defensive team overall. Their offense got stifled by a very good St. Mary's team, um, who's currently 20th in Ken Palm in defensive efficiency. Um, so yeah, anyway, let's go on to a game that went final earlier today. Illinois had to come back against Ohio State. This was Will Riley's breakout game. 24 points, 7 of 9 from the floor, 9 of 12 from the free throw line, and despite Devin Royals' 29 points, Illinois gets the win at home. A big win for them because they could have fallen to 6-6 in the Big Ten easily. Bruce Thornton also had 22, John Mobley had 18, but really no one else for Ohio State was really scoring. Um, Jonas had 8, Thomas Lavovicic had 12, Jacob Zlahorn had 10. But yeah, the star of this day was Will Riley. Finally, I've been a Will Riley truther for quite a bit, and I've been looking forward to seeing when he finally breaks out, and he finally did against Ohio State of all teams. So yeah, this was a big win for Illinois. They needed to keep like keep the train on the tracks, especially after losing to Nebraska. Um, this Big Ten is very competitive, but getting the win here for Illinois was very important for them, and especially in the Big Ten, when you have teams like obviously Purdue and Michigan State um, ahead of them, need as many wins as possible. So um, Bradley, the fall off has happened. They are losing to Northern Iowa 43 to 25 currently. I maybe it may have been wrong about Bradley. This conference might be Drake's for the taking. Um, yeah, definitely sucks to see that happen because I was really hoping Bradley would contest for the Missouri Valley, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Um, and then West Virginia defeated Cincinnati on the road 63 to 50 in that one. And yeah, I really don't have too much else to say there. Still looking at the Memphis Rice game to see if it has to see when it will have gone final. It is a 1 point game, 84 to 83. Um, so I would rather not in the podcast until I know exactly what ends up happening in this one. So yeah, I because I said earlier that that Memphis won twice this week, and so far they have not. Um, so yeah, uh, very much a game that I feel like Memphis should have won pretty easily, but this is what Memphis can do sometimes. Is they can play down to competition. They they can definitely struggle at times. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Like I can't get it because it's also on ESPN Plus. So, ugh, you know. Um, so Memphis is at the free throw line. Let's talk about something else while we wait for the result of this game to end. Um, yeah, the Trump presidency is going about as poorly as anticipated. Who could have seen that coming? Aside from like almost everyone. Um, everyone who at least has a brain. Anyway, yeah, I just like, especially with the recent plane crashes and him, uh, uh, basically taking a hammer to the FAA, and then people are like, "Well, it's DEI that's actually like causing this," and um, yeah, I mean, what else can you really say? Like, soon enough, I hope that you know that people look at what's currently happening and are um, going to finally realize, like, wait a minute, it's actually not like minorities or immigrants or LGBTQ plus people or women that are the cause of like the problems here. It's, the billionaire class seizing power from average working people and trying to pit us against each other for their own gain. So, um, because right now it's especially with diseases coming back like tuberculosis. There was a case in Michigan that was just discovered. Like polio might be coming back. Like this is what we're dealing with right now. Like we're partying like it's fucking 1843 right now. Not only socially, but like you know in the real world. So it's like it's such an incredible failure right now, and it's only like day like 13 for the Trump administration. Like it's going to continue to get bad. Um, Man, it's going to continue to get so much worse. Um, but with that said, Memphis hangs on against Rice. I was correct in the beginning. They won twice this week. They are now 8-1 in the American Athletic Conference. Uh, are they now 7-1? Yeah, I get it hasn't updated yet, but they'll be 18-4, 8-1 overall in the American. So Memphis wins, barely, but I guess in the American Athletic, uh, the a win is a win in this case. So anyway, that being said, I think that will be it for this episode today. Um, Tennessee women's basketball just defeated Missouri, bouncing back after the loss against South Carolina. So congratulations, Tyler. Tennessee gets 2 wins this weekend. Great stuff. Anyway, thanks again so much for listening. Hope you all have a great week. I'll be back either Wednesday or Thursday to break down the action, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.